say that no one wants to listen to what I have to say. So I turned on my computer and started a weblog. Blogtv, I wanna be on Blogtv.
Good evening, welcome to Blogtv. I'm the Flying Dutchman. Pin is on set, and this evening it's a very interesting show. The top PSLE student this year came from Qifa Primary, rather than an elite school. More than half of the top 13 pupils this year were from neighbourhood schools. Are neighbourhood schools becoming the new elite? Now, we've got a bit of a test this evening on the show. We have an elite school kid and a neighbourhood school kid. Now, the elite school kid is Cheng Yu, the neighbourhood school kid is Jia Hui, and they're going to pit themselves against each other to see who's the most well-rounded. They did a test earlier to see who was more resourceful and creative. Now they're going to take a current affairs quiz. Do we have the quiz papers for them? Let's bring the quiz papers out and give it to them. Very good. Each one of you take one, and we'll check on them later on in the show to see how they're doing. Okay, guys? You can start now.
This is very evil. We're getting progressively evil as the season goes along. Now we give our guests quiz to do, but it's a lot of fun to see who wins. Let's see. If you have something to say about neighborhood schools and elite schools, log on to blogtv.sg and tell us through our shout box. We also have a poll running. The question is, who do you think is more well-rounded? So evil. SMS Blogtv space 1 for Jia Hui and 2 for Zheng Yu.
Yep.
To 73388. Let's meet our guests. Okay. This is the Flying Dutchman.
Thank you. It's so nice to be on the show.
We also have the real guest. This is over here. This is Maisha. She's been on elite schools her entire studying career, her entire school career.
Yeah. Wow.
Very proud of herself. We have guest number 2. This is Amy. She is a parent of 3, and she used to be a teacher at both elite and neighborhood schools. And we have guest number 3. This is Nafiz, who was from a neighborhood secondary, and then he made it to a good JC. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, questions. Why and how are neighborhood schools catching up? Let's start with Amy.
Why and how are neighborhood schools catching up? Well, I think one of the reasons is that parents are being more bold to put their kids in neighborhood schools. We're talking about parents who have gone to elite schools for convenience purposes, perhaps, and marketing is a strategy now, among schools, and they're doing a great job.
What do you mean by marketing the schools?
Well, you see banners outside schools,
yes,
right? Talking about value-addedness of a school or featuring their top students. Yeah, so I think marketing actually plays a part in trying to get these kids into, the better kids, so to speak, the more intelligent ones, into these
You've got 3
schools.
children, and you sent 2 of them to neighborhood schools and 1 to an elite school.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
What was your reason for the neighborhood schools?
Okay, our priority is to actually send them to a mission school.
Right.
Yeah, for spiritual upbringing.
Right.
So that's our first priority. And coming from specific churches, you really don't have much choice as to where to put your kids. And to save me the hassle of volunteering my services to perhaps an elite school, I'd rather just go through the balloting process and get myself a place. And by divine intervention, we got it.
Cool.
Are neighborhood schools getting better, do you think? And how have they been doing that? How have they been achieving that?
I think one of the reasons is you have to look at neighborhood schools when they start off. When they first start off, first couple of years, they don't do very well. I mean, it's to be said, they may not have enough experience. They're not used to the students, what kind of students they're getting. But after a few years, once the whole teaching population get used to the fact what kind of students they're getting, their curriculum, everything, they get planned out together, they can prepare their students better. So, I mean, you see there's been quite a lot of neighborhood schools being opened up in a few recent years, and now it's been, what, 5-6 years already down the road. And so now...
But you're from a neighborhood secondary school, but you said to our producers that you didn't think that... you thought that elite schools prepared their students better.
Yes, I think for academically, when you look at the... Because I've done neighborhood school test papers, I've done top school test papers, and you can see that the emphasis is different. And when I went into the exams, I felt if I had been in a better school, perhaps I would have done a lot better. The difference really comes in whenever you're talking about, let's say, because nowadays O-levels and A-levels, let's talk about the exams because that's very important, right? They encourage the students to think a lot. It's not just you go there, you look at the question and you come up with something. They want you to think. They want you to make deductions on what you know. And no matter how much practice you do, you're never going to quite get that. Unless you get very challenging questions. And that is what you get in a neighborhood school. Because honestly, if you compare some papers, you can see that the gulf is huge. And that gulf really comes into play not so much in the O-levels, but in the A-levels, when you really have to think on your feet.
Okay, with that thought in mind, are you happy that you went to an elite school now?
Definitely. I am very happy I went to elite schools because they prepare you very well. Day one, once you get into the school, their ultimate aim is, what are you going to do for your exam? So they're going to give you a very strong foundation. They're going to really make you study. They're going to make you prepared for the exam, because exams can be very unpredictable. So they give you really tough questions sometimes, not to kill you, but to show you that this is where your standard is, and this is how you move on, how much more you need to work, so that even if the question comes out easy or difficult, you can do well for your O's and your A's. And that ultimately matters, because how you do for your A's actually brings you to which university, and grades are actually very important. Although people keep emphasizing on holistic development, your academics are very important.
So you're saying an elite school spends more time on the academics, less on the holistic?
No, they spend equal time. Okay, equal time or not, they definitely spend time teaching you and ensuring that you do well academically. They also spend a huge amount of time trying to hone your leadership skills. They try holistic development as well, because they know that now you can't just have good academic grades. You need good leadership. You also get into universities with great CCA records and good leadership, because ultimately when you go into your work sphere, what matters is not exactly your academic grades. You need to be intelligent, but you need people skills and how you carry yourself.
So you know what? That's all a lie. All that matters are your grades.
I think that's what about street smarts? Where do you learn better street smarts? In a neighborhood school or in an elite school?
Elite schools. What happens is that for when I went to elite schools, they sent us to overseas trips. They sent us overseas to learn more things from other countries. So when you're there without your parents and without such enclosures, you're actually put on your feet, and you have to represent your school. You have to represent yourself.
That doesn't sound like street smarts to me. That sounds like you're seeing the world. You get to meet different people, but
because
you're broadening your mind.
Because you're broadening your mind, you actually become more street smart.
I don't know. Street smart to me is watching gang fights every day after school and figuring out how not to get into trouble.
Neighborhood school.
Because actually, what I wanted to say was the point on leadership. What you're saying, I wanted to say that I think it's very important nowadays, because Singapore is a small country. If you have, say, 10 elite schools, each graduating 100 top students, all getting A's, when they go into the job market, there will be nothing whatsoever to differentiate them. And that is when all those programs come in, because sometimes the way you perform in those programs, I mean, you're challenged in different ways, and that will really play a part in your employer looking at, okay, you did really impressive here. So that is something to differentiate. The street smartness in neighborhood school, I just want to know, what exactly are you trying to get at with the street smartness thing? What exactly do you mean?
Street smarts.
Well, wait, hang on. You can answer that when we come back from break, because we have to take a little commercial break right now. When we come back, Amy, the teacher who has taught in both neighborhood schools and elite schools, is going to weigh in here and tell us who is correct.
Okay.
And then you can go on about how street smarts are important and what that is. Cool. We'll see you guys after the break. And just like that, the first segment is over.